Hi. Hey, Facebook. I said that again. Hey, YouTube. It's Mandy. Are you wondering how to know when it's time to go to the hospital when you think you're in labor? Gosh, that's one of my most asked questions in my childbirth classes and at work as a nurse. I get it all the time. So I'm tackling that today. Welcome. I am so glad you're here. I hope to minimize and eliminate some of that fear and worry around when to go to the hospital because it's so common. And I'm live. It's so common, and you have so much more to concentrate on, like labor. So hopefully after this video, you are going to feel better about when to go to the hospital, about making that decision. I have 3 of my secrets, and they're secrets because I don't really talk about them, and I just heard about them and started kind of asking people, and they work. So listen up. I am Mandy Irby. I'm the the birth nurse. I don't always go live on YouTube, and I'm a little nervous again, even though this is my second one. I'm a labor and delivery nurse, and I've helped thousands of families have babies. And I just did the math because I had to fill out a resume. I had to write a resume this week. Thousands of families I've helped give birth, and hundreds I've helped teach Lamaze. So I get this question a lot. 3 secrets. Let me know where you're at in the comments. Where are you at on this fear continuum? Are you afraid maybe you're going to go to the hospital too early? Something's moving. Are you afraid you're going to go to the hospital too early? Are you afraid that you're going to go too late and miss it and have a baby in the car or at your house? Or maybe what you were told wasn't what happened to you when you had your baby. Let me know in the comments. I love when we can talk after the video. I want to see where you're at so I can help you best answer those questions. If you have a question, this is live, so drop them in the comments. I might be able to see them, hopefully. So thank you for that. Let me know. I teach Lamaze, which I said, Lamaze has the 6 healthy birth practices, which I won't go into, but one of them is avoid unnecessary interventions. So that really hits home with this question, when to go to the hospital, because the longer you're in the hospital, if that's where you're having your baby, the more chance there is for interventions. And if they are unnecessary, that's what Lamaze encourages, if they are unnecessary, to avoid them, because that is the best way to have, or the way that they believe is to have the healthiest mom and the healthiest baby, the healthiest family giving birth. So that's why they say avoid unnecessary, but it's hard to know what's unnecessary. Okay. So I totally get that. I've been there. I know what it's like to be 40 weeks and 40 weeks in 1 day and 40 weeks in 2 days. And everyone is asking, when are you having the baby? What's your cervix dilated? Someone asked me that on the elevator at work. Like, what's your cervix dilated? Lady, I don't know you. I don't want to talk about my cervix with you. That's weird. But everyone wants to know. They don't text you about how you're doing. They're just like, is the baby here? Is the baby here? So first, to avoid unnecessary interventions, if you are in the category of someone who wants to go to the hospital when you're in labor, but you don't want to hang out a bunch before, then I love, someone told me this when I was pregnant. They said, ignore early labor. That's my number 1. And I love that. Ignore early labor. Act like you're not in labor. Just tell yourself, nope, it's probably not it. It's going to take forever. And it means that I have to have a lot of contractions for my cervix to open and get soft. And this is probably not it. And if you do that, you might have to do it for a few days or a few weeks or a few times, or you might just have to do it for an hour. The length of time that you ignore is different for everyone. I had 2 students in my last in-person Lamaze class in town, not online, but in town, tell me that they skipped a bunch of the steps we talked about because their labor progressed so quickly. Now, was that because they had such a kick-ass childbirth education? Probably not. Their bodies were probably just jamming. But you never know if you're going to be that person. So I don't say contractions have to be a certain amount apart. You know, there's the 5-1-1, contractions every 5 minutes, lasting a minute for an hour. So 1 minute long contractions every 5 minutes for 1 to 2 hours that you can't walk, talk, or laugh through. Yes, I do talk about that in class, but that's not the same for everyone. Contractions could stay that far apart and you could be in active labor, or they could be further apart and you could still be in active labor and be really confused. And I've had a lot of friends in that situation. And it's just so individual. So listen to your body, but if you want to be in active labor when you go to the hospital, ignore your labor and it will continue. Labor will continue. So if you ignore your labor, you're going to be like doing laundry and going to work and picking up the kids if you have other kids and, you know, thinking in your mind, like, what would happen if I were in labor? Do I have clean underwear on? Isn't a bad idea. But being like startled and like paying attention to every contraction and timing it probably is not going to be a great use of your time in case it lasts hours or in case it's not actually labor. Okay. Number 2, when to know when it's time to go to the hospital instead of definitely like they have to feel like this or they have to last this long, when they take all of your attention. I heard that from a doula friend. I love that when they take all of your attention. If you've had a baby, drop yes in a comment right now if that is totally how it feels, because they really take all of your attention when they're uncomfortable and you're like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. But when they're worse and you can't even think, oh my gosh, this is horrible, you're just breathing and concentrating, that's active labor. They take all of your attention. You're not going to be able to drive. You're not going to be able to text. You're really not going to want to even call your doctor. So that is a good sign that go see what's up. And it goes right into my third secret. You might go home. It's not really a secret, but it's like a prep. Be ready for that. Be open to that. So going into the hospital when you're not in early labor, and if your provider has told you this, it used to be like a bigger thing a few weeks ago, or a few years ago, when this was new information that 6 is the new 4. Have you ever heard that? Let me know. Give me a thumbs up if you've heard that. 6 is the new 4. That means 6 centimeters dilated is the new 4 centimeters dilated. 6 being active labor. So it used to be, hey, Veronica, it used to be that they would, you'd be admitted into the hospital as active labor if you were 4 centimeters. And then you were like, yes, I am going and not stopping. I am having a baby today. That's not actually the case. So the studies on the Friedman's curve have adjusted that to giving people more time to have labor, because sometimes for a lot of people, it takes a lot of time. If your baby is aligned into the pelvis and your body is on a roll and your hormones are going and kicking and other things are happening that we don't even understand, that mystery of labor, then you're going to keep moving forward. Not for everyone. That's not true for everyone. So now it's 6. At 6 centimeters, they're more like, yes, we're having a baby and my body is moving forward and we're not stopping and we're not going backward. So 6 is the new 4. Not every provider practices that. And they may say, okay, I can admit you and you're 4 centimeters. Now you're setting yourself up, or they are setting you up to possibly have interventions if your labor slows down, meaning it's picking up and slowing down, picking up and slowing down. That's called early labor. Hate to tell you, that's still early labor, which is normal in early labor. But now you're in the hospital and you're kind of on the hospital clock, and they are going to be checking your cervix and really like watching your labor, which you wouldn't be doing at home or at work if you were ignoring your labor. You would just be going with the flow. No one would be putting a timer on you. Now that you're in the hospital, that kind of happens. While they'll give you time for your cervix to change, they're not going to give you 3 days. And it might be 3 days. So being open to going home. And I would suggest when you go to the hospital, being very clear with your team that's with you. So you have a doula, or you have a midwife that you've been working with, or your partner, or your mom, or your sister, whoever you want with you, or whoever is with you, be very clear. They need to support you in going home if you don't want those unnecessary interventions. And it may not even mean going home, going to the mall and walking around and getting lunch. Or we have a greenway near our hospital, going outside, going for a walk, see how you feel after that adrenaline of going to the hospital and getting your cervix checked wears off. Your labor may pick up and then you're close. No big deal. But being okay with that, I know I know how it feels to be so disappointed when it stops or when it slows down or when it doesn't really pick up steam like you are really needing it to because you're not sleeping and you're uncomfortable. It's like the most uncomfortable part of pregnancy for most people is the very end. I get it, but you're totally like rocking a hard place right there. Like if you get admitted, just be willing and open to the possibility of a different kind of disappointment, meaning your cervix doesn't go past 4 within the time allotted, and they want to start doing things that are going to affect your labor, are going to affect your hormones, breaking water, adding Pitocin, um, doing other interventions like more monitoring. That means less moving around, less doing things, adding stress and adding worry and adding questions in your mind like, is my body doing it? Can my body do it? Right? It's so hairy. It's so tricky. So there is no judgment and no blame and no like, oh my gosh, your body couldn't do it. If you decide, you know what, I'm going to be admitted at 4 centimeters because I just need pain relief or I'm ready for Pitocin. I've been doing this for 2 weeks. I hear you. And there are people who that happens to. And that sounds horrible to me. This long prodromal preterm or early labor. But if you're term, low risk, you don't have any other reason to really need a lot of intervention, giving yourself permission to wait some more hours, not in the hospital, or even go home and try to sleep is okay. And it's really hard for me to say that because I know it's really hard to hear. But having that conversation with your provider, like, what if this happens and would you support me and how? Um, the numbers and the research will give them confidence that 6 centimeters is a really great time to be admitted into the hospital. And that should transfer to you. And that should give you confidence. How do I wait until I'm 6 centimeters? So there are a ton of things that we talk about, in class. And there's other videos that I can link up here about what to do until you're 6 centimeters and how to really get into labor. But the question that I just got was, I'm 40 weeks and 4 days, no signs of labor. What do I do? And this is not the answer to that, but this is hopefully helping you be patient with yourself and with your body and letting go of some of the fear and worry of like, when do I transition into the hospital? Because I know that that is like a tension spot for a lot of people. It was for me at least. So once you're in the hospital, the question is, then what do you do? Navigating all of the choices that you have, and then how will your partner support you? I cannot wait to get into that next week. I've been asked about partner support, and that really excites me. I love talking about how the partner can support the prego because it's huge and it's not talked about a lot. So great questions I'm getting from you guys. Keep them coming. Put them down in the comments. And for people who are about to have a baby, when are you due? Are you due this month for Halloween? Are you due in November? Are you due in December? Let me know. I want to know where you're at and what your partner is doing to prepare, because that will be our conversation next Wednesday. Thanks for joining me. Hey, if this helped, thank you for the likes. Share with a friend because that is huge in getting this birth culture to change and to help support us and lift us up instead of be so damn scared about everything. It's scary right now and it shouldn't be like that. So share with everyone you know. Thank you so much for the love. And don't forget to subscribe and click the bell, the gray bell after you subscribe. That means that you're going to be notified next Wednesday. I can't wait to see you. Thank you for the conversation. I see all the comments over here. I will talk to you soon. Oh, after show, all the things I forgot to say, Facebook Live right now at The Birth Nurse. I'll see you there. Bye, guys.